theorysabers.com. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about something close to every Star Wars fan's heart. Hayden Christensen's intense preparation to become Darth Vader in Revenge of the Sith. Now, I've made a lot of videos on Hayden Christensen and how he prepared for Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker and how his acting actually was phenomenal, contrary to some of the hate that he got in the early 2000s. However, in this video, we're going to talk about what many people don't know, which is the sheer amount of mental and physical work that Hayden put into truly becoming the face of Darth Vader. This wasn't just another acting role. It was a full transformation. And today we're going to break down just how Hayden prepared himself to bring Anakin's tragic fall to life. So let's get into it. When George Lucas cast Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker in Attack of the Clones, Hayden had big shoes to fill. But it wasn't until Revenge of the Sith that Hayden really stepped into the role of Darth Vader, the ultimate Star Wars villain. And what many people don't realize is the deep level of preparation that Hayden undertook to bring Anakin's fall to the dark side to life. One of the things that stands out to me personally is how Hayden isolated himself during the filming of Revenge of the Sith to get into Anakin's headspace. In an interview with The Making of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith by J.W. Rinsler, Hayden mentions how he deliberately distanced himself from the rest of the cast and crew, allowing himself to tap into the emotional isolation that Anakin felt during his descent into darkness. Anakin was emotionally broken, conflicted, and alone, something Hayden tried to feel on a personal level. Now, that kind of method acting isn't easy, especially on a set as high energy as Star Wars. But Hayden understood that to show Anakin's emotional and psychological downfall, he needed to live through it. The Jedi were pushing Anakin away, Palpatine was manipulating him, and Hayden needed to internalize that loneliness and betrayal. This isolation became a critical part of Hayden's performance in scenes like when Anakin sits in the Jedi Council chamber after learning of Palpatine's true identity. You can see that loneliness and sense of being trapped written all over his face. He's conflicted, but powerless to escape the fate that he feels is closing in on him, much like the trash compactor's doors in Episode 4. It's chilling, and it's a huge testament to Hayden's methodical approach to the role. Now, Hayden's preparation wasn't just emotional, it was physical as well. He spent months training with stunt coordinator Nick Gillard, learning lightsaber choreography to prepare for the intense duels in Revenge of the Sith. The battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan and Mustafar is legendary, and while the fight might look like a CGI masterpiece on screen, behind the scenes, it was all Hayden and Ewan McGregor putting in the work. In the behind-the-scenes documentary, Within a Minute, The Making of Episode 3, you can see Hayden spending hours perfecting every swing, every parry, and every kick. Nick Gillard has even said that Hayden was one of the most dedicated actors he'd ever worked with. He wasn't just learning to wield a lightsaber, he was learning how to fight like Anakin Skywalker, which meant becoming both powerful and chaotic. Now, being friends with Nick, he explained even more how Anakin was one of the most athletic people he's ever met. Just on a completely different level. Hayden was one of the most athletic people he's ever met. His movements had to show the shift from Jedi Knight to Sith Lord, a shift that's subtle but crucial to the emotional weight of the film. One of the most fascinating things is how Hayden's physical training affected the character's internal struggle. He was getting stronger, more capable, just like Anakin, but that strength was being used for the wrong reasons. You can see it in his body language. By the time we reach the final duel, Anakin's movements are more erratic, more aggressive, reflecting his inner turmoil. And let's not forget the iconic moment when Hayden finally donned the Darth Vader suit. According to The Making of Revenge of the Sith by J.W. Rinsler, the suit was incredibly heavy and restrictive, and Hayden spent hours wearing it during the final scenes. This wasn't just a costume, it was a physical representation of Anakin's entrapment. Hayden mentioned in interviews how wearing the suit helped him understand Anakin's isolation and desperation. He was physically trapped in the suit, just as Anakin was trapped in his choices. Another layer of Hayden's preparation was his deep discussions with George Lucas about Anakin's psychological journey. In the Revenge of the Sith novelization by Matthew Stover, we get an incredibly deep dive into Anakin's mindset, especially in the scenes where he's torn between his love for Padme and his fear of losing her. Hayden and Lucas spent hours talking about this aspect of Anakin's character. His fall wasn't just about anger and hatred, it was about fear, loss, and love. One of the quotes from Stover's novelization that captures this internal battle is, "The dark is generous, and it is patient, and it always wins. But in the heart of its strength lies its weakness. One lone candle is enough to hold it back." Hayden wanted to embody that flickering light in Anakin, the small sliver of hope that was eventually snuffed out by the darkness. This vulnerability made Anakin's fall all the more tragic, and Hayden brought that out in scenes like his confrontation with Obi-Wan, where he screams, "You turned her against me!" Hayden's ability to show the slow crumbling of Anakin's morality was something Lucas praised. In an interview, George Lucas said that Hayden perfectly captured the duality of Anakin, the hero we loved and the villain he would soon become. His performance wasn't just about turning to the dark side, it was about showing the gradual erosion of a good man's soul. Another key part of Hayden's preparation was understanding Anakin's body language. In the early scenes of the prequels, Anakin is confident and upright, a proud Jedi Knight. But as the movie progresses, that changes. Hayden started to incorporate more tension into Anakin's posture. You can see it in his shoulders, the way he walks, and how he grips his lightsaber. By the time we get to the duel on Mustafar, Anakin's movements are more aggressive and wild, almost as if he's fighting against his own conscience as much as he is fighting Obi-Wan. One scene that really stands out to me, and I want to know if it's the same for you guys too watching, is when Anakin watches Padme from across Coruscant, right before he decides to betray the Jedi and storm the temple. There's no dialogue in that scene, just Hayden's face reflecting the intense internal conflict that he's going through. His eyes tell the whole story. This is a man being pulled in two different directions, and ultimately, the darkness wins. It's one of the most emotionally charged moments, I would say, in all of Star Wars, and it's because Hayden knew how to bring that depth to life without a single word. He did this as well the first time when he was going to save his mother, Shmi, on Tatooine in Episode 2. All of this emotional isolation, the physical training, and the mental preparation culminated in one of the most memorable portrayals in Star Wars history. Hayden Christensen didn't just play Anakin Skywalker, he became him. He understood Anakin's pain, his fear, and his desperation. And when Anakin finally becomes Darth Vader, you can feel the weight of that transformation, because Hayden brought every ounce of his preparation into those scenes. In fact, in more interviews from the Star Wars archives, episode 1-3, 1999 to 2005 by Paul Duncan, who I had the pleasure of interviewing as well, Hayden talks about how he approached the final moments of the film. The infamous "no" scene in Vader's suit may have sparked debate among fans, but for Hayden, it was a moment of pure tragedy. Anakin had lost everything. His wife, his children, his mentor, and that scream was the only release for all that emotion that Hayden had bottled up throughout the film. Now, in some deleted concept art scenes, Vader was actually supposed to create some sort of a force whirlwind that would knock Sidious back and make the entire room shake and break in half. The walls were supposed to dent, all the droids were supposed to implode, and it was supposed to be a really crazy scene. But George decided against that for some reason. So, why does Hayden's portrayal of Anakin resonate so much with fans? It's because of the level of dedication that he brought to the role. His physical transformation, his mental isolation, and his emotional depth all contributed to making Anakin's fall one of the most compelling arcs in Star Wars history. Hayden didn't just act, he lived Anakin's journey. I mean, for God's sakes, when he was voicing the lines, he made it so monotone on purpose, so that it sounded like what Vader would become, which I've mentioned before in videos. And this is something we as fans continue to appreciate to this day. It's a performance that reminds us of the human side of Star Wars, the side that shows us even the greatest heroes can fall. And it's that complexity that makes Anakin Skywalker such a beloved character. And furthermore, our fallen heroes can always return. It's never too late to change. So what do you guys think? Did Hayden Christensen give us the definitive portrayal of Anakin Skywalker? Or do you believe in all of the bullshit hate that he got? I, for one, have always been a Hayden Christensen and Anakin Skywalker fan, and I will always continue to be. Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe as we return to more videos that really started the channel. Until next time, may the Force be with you, always.